Okay, so I put all, oh, those are out for a reason. Okay. Okay, let's see. B. Just get everything set up. Hello guys, we're gonna be starting in about 15 minutes. So I'm just getting everything ready. If you guys are joining, the link to all of the tutorial stuff is in the Disco for everyone. So you can access the color sheet inside the Disco. Let's see, 80, B90. And we'll be starting at 1 o'clock. I think we're gonna cover water, colorless blender, and then we're gonna work on our beach page today. Is the plan. Okay, let me get everything. I'm just kind of getting everything organized. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. We'll start at 1. Let's see. Let's try to get all of this stuff organized. Okay, I'm gonna do some cleanup here. Okay. What was that? Oh. Hello everyone, welcome in. I have, these are going to be the colors that we use today. I posted it in the Disco. So I'm going to give everyone about 15-ish minutes. And I think we're going to do a water tutorial first. So if you want to pull out colors, these are the colors we're going to use for the water tutorial. I will show these again before we start, but we're going to start with a quick little water tutorial. So I will get everything ready here. Okay. And we'll get started. What's in the if you go to the Disco, if you don't have the link, let me know. I can send it. I always post, so if you go to our Chit Chat channel, a copy of the color palette is in there for you. So you can, because I know it can be hard to see on the screen, so if you want to go in and grab the palette, I have it there for everyone. We're going to be doing the ice cream page, which is this page right here. I'm gonna grab a water. Make sure you guys grab a water, something to stay hydrated while you color. Let's see, yes. Yeah, I wasn't gonna do water, but everyone was asking me to do water, so we're gonna start with a water tutorial, which if you guys remember my Around the World page, it's gonna be very similar to the water we did. Well, thank you for the roses, Jennifer. It's gonna be similar to that water. And also the water from last night, which is this one. So I'm gonna teach you guys a quick tutorial on the water. So we'll start with that at 1 o'clock. So you got about 10 minutes and we will get started. Okay, perfect. I got that ready. Ooh, I need to get a new swatch sheet out and get that ready, and then I think we're in a good spot. Hi, Fly. We're just hanging out. We're gonna start in about 10 minutes. We're gonna start with water. So let me add the watercolors onto here so you guys can see them. We're gonna start with a quick water tutorial because everyone's been asking. So let me just add the color codes on here for you guys. Okay. And really, yeah, we're not going to start for 10 minutes. So you guys got plenty of time. I'm just kind of getting some things ready. Here, just going to add that and get my pen. And unfortunately, I can't have music because it's a sub live. So we're just going to have to, although I can do ocean waves. Let's see. Or like a bird chirping. Bird chirp. There. A little something. All right, so G, G4, G68. Now it sounds like we're outside on my deck. I love it. PB7. Okay, B260. All right. That's going to be the colors we start with. Okay, so if you guys want to pull out colors, we're going to do water first. We're not starting for 9 minutes, but we're going to do water tutorial first. So these are going to be the colors that I'm using. Really, you just need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shades of blue is really all you need. Or if you want to do more of a greenish water, you can do that too. So we will be starting in about 9 minutes. Getting everything ready. If you guys have any questions or anything before we get started, just let me know. I started the initial concepts for my pattern book. I don't know if I guys told you this. My birds are loud. Listen, I like it that way. Okay. It's like it's on 30% volume. So I don't know. I don't know. It's not loud for me. It's actually very quiet. But I'm starting a pattern book. So kind of like, you know how there's a lot of like coloring pattern books. So I started kind of building out some concepts and stuff for that. So I'm going to start working on that this month, which I'm excited to do. Should be good. Okay. Will you be using the blender for the water? Okay, so this is the plan for today. We are going to be doing water tutorial first. We are going to be doing a colorless blender tutorial second, and then we're going to get to the page. So thank you for the roses. Thank you. I appreciate it. And for the stickers, I'm going to get you guys your sub stickers, but I'm going to do it at the end of the live when I'm teaching. It gets very overwhelming to kind of keep up with the stickers and teach and make sure everybody's caught up. So anybody that sends a gift during the live, I will add your sticker in at the end to your pages. Last time I got very overwhelmed trying to keep up with like the stickers and teaching. So I want to really just focus on like teaching you guys and making sure everybody, you know, is good and nobody needs help or anything like that. So this is going to be water. And I'm going to actually use this page. This isn't the page we're doing today for the class, but I'm going to be using this page for the water tutorial. We are going to be doing the ice cream page, which is somewhere here, this page. So we're actually doing this page for the class, but I'm going to use the water here because it's small and easy to do for the tutorial. So if you want to color along with me while I do the water tutorial, you can use this page if you want, or you can use any page really, anything that has water. And I'll put the colors. Those are the watercolors I'm gonna use. It's gonna be very similar to the water we did here. Same kind of thing. Same kind of thing. All right, well, we got 6 minutes. Good, I can get this ready. This is in the disco, you guys. So if you're looking for a copy of this, it's in the disco. It's in the disco. In the disco. Let's see. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. We got about 5 minutes. If you guys are just popping in, we're going to start with water. So grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. I think I'm going pastels. Ooh, nice. Yeah, on this tutorial, I'm going to just, on the ice cream page, I'm going to be teaching you guys some basics. So I'm going to be teaching you guys, we're going to review our balloons because I know that you guys should do that. Those are Ohuhu codes. Yes, the old Ohuhu codes. I'm going to be teaching you guys the cobblestone pattern, the bush, the apple pattern, and the tree. But honestly, you guys can use any colors you want. Like, you don't have to use these colors if you want to use something different. I'm just going to teach with these, but feel free to swap any colors you want. Nikki! Yeah, we're going to do the balloons. We're going to recap the balloons. We did that last class. Oh, we're in Wally. Hi. Hi. Oh my God, you came to say hi. All right, guys, we're going to be starting in 4 minutes. Thank you for the hi, friend. You guys, everyone make sure you're following Nikki. She's amazing. She was like the one that got me into going live. So, you know, the reason you're stuck with me is because of her. But she's amazing. So you guys should follow her. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it. I'm making you blush. Bill, it's so good to have you here. Yes. All right, we're going to do water first. So for those of you coming in, grab 5 shades of water. I'm using these shades right here from the Ohuhu set, but you can use any 5 shades of blue that you want. So we're going to start with a quick water tutorial. And then we're going to move into colorless blender tutorial, and then we're going to do our page. So grab out 5 blues. I know not everyone has Ohuhus, so whatever colors you can find that are close to this or that you have is totally fine. And we're going to get started in about 3 minutes. So I'll give everyone... Yes, we will be recording, and then So if anybody knows a spot to put really big videos, let me know. I've been just breaking them up into chunks and posting them that way on TikTok. So like on this page, I'll probably post a sub video for the cobblestone, the sky. I'll post like separate, like small videos. I tried to do it in Dropbox, but the files were so big, it was telling me I had to like pay for a server because I was trying to put all of our class videos in there. And they're massive. Like the videos are like maybe Tubi, but the problem is I don't know if on Tubi I can limit them to sub only, right? Because I don't want to put them. I don't want to have them for everyone because then it kind of defeats the purpose of like the sub lives. So I'm trying to find a place where I can lock them down. Yeah, can you make a Tubi where it's sub only, like only certain people, a private one maybe? I'll have to play around and see. But yeah, so for right now, I'm just breaking the videos up into small little clips and putting them on TikTok is the plan. And I don't know if anyone would actually watch a 3-hour video. If you guys think you would, let me know and we can play around with figuring out where to add them. I have the Ohuhu 320 set. Can't wait to find water shades. Just don't tell. Oh yeah, just keep it a secret between us. I mean, we could. The problem is people come in here that are on preview. I'm here, not calling. Oh, well, hi. Thanks for hanging. Okay, guys, we're going to get started. We're going to start with water. So if you're using Ohuhus, you can grab these shades. If you're not using Ohuhus, you can find any color combination that is similar to this, or honestly, any 5 colors of blue. So we are going to start. I already have mine pulled out. Thank you for the follow. I am going to do the tutorial on this little page here in Cozy Cuties. but you could use any water page. And this is an example of what it looks like when it's done. So there's this one. So basically the technique I'm going to teach you guys is like a line technique for water. It's actually one of the easier water techniques there is. This is the one we did yesterday that is also similar, but we use more darker colors. So I'm going to show you a very easy way, because I know some people do like the, you know, where you do the little circles and then you do the white acrylic over it. Like, I'm not a big fan of that style. I like something a little bit more simple, and this is like an easy, good beginner kind of one. So we're just going to do that for the first version. Okay. So let me get my paper out. We're gonna get started on the water tutorial. I'm gonna put my cardstock in. And I am going to just line up my colors in order. I always find lining them up in order is very helpful. So BG4, BG68, and then it goes PB7, and then B260. Okay. So step one, I color in the entire water my lightest color. So for me, this is, I'm doing like a green because I want it to be kind of like greeny kind of vibes. So I'm going to color everything in my first shade. I like how this book feels. It's like a cardstock vibe, and it feels great on the marker. So I'm gonna go in, color this in. Base color. Okay, I do that first. Then I take my darkest color, and over here I'm gonna make this dark. I'm gonna add a little bit of dark coming off the ends like that. And then I'm gonna actually have it kind of be uneven. I can have a little bit of dark here, and then I bring the dark all the way across like that. I can even bring it down around here. Okay, now what I do is I'm literally just taking all my shades, and you're just doing lines. So you're just doing like squiggly lines, and you're gonna keep doing this until you fill in your page how you want it. And you're gonna go in with the next shade. So you're covering up most of it, but you wanna leave a little bit of the base. So you're just kinda like doing lines, blending some of that in. Taking our next shade, squiggle, squiggle, squiggle. I'll typically do this darker going around the edge here. And you're gonna keep just doing, and then I'm gonna add some little lines with the dark. Add some little lines. And then I'm gonna keep going in, and now I go backwards. So now I go from dark to light. And you're just gonna get it to wherever you like that blend. You wanna leave a little bit of the light showing. Thank you guys for the roses, appreciate it. So you're just coloring in, blending that in nicely with the edges. Give that a nice blend, add some light in. Take my dark one. And some darker waves. And then I take my white acrylic and I add some lines. Above the black lines. And then I just add in some random white little lines in. And then if you want to go back in and blend that in, typically do darker under the white. Go in here, darken that up a little bit. Thank you for the roses. So this is a really simple water effect that you can do with literally just squiggly lines. And there's like, you're just blending all the colors together. And it gives a really pretty, I use this a lot on like ponds. And then if you do like, if you have things in the pond, you can kind of do like shadows with darker colors and the white acrylic. If you're doing more of an ocean vibe, you can do more of this kind of look where you use white waves. Like obviously this is a pond, there's no waves, so there's no need to do like wave caps. But yeah, I used these colors right here. G110, BG4, BG68, PB7, B260. Thank you for the roses. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Ooh, we're on a flash goal. What is the flash goal? 11 roses? Oh, that's easy. Yeah, so those are the colors. You don't have to use these colors on the ocean page I did yesterday. I didn't use a green. I used more of a teal instead of G110. But you're always going to want to start out with a light base, and then you're just gradually getting darker. So yeah, so that's the water tutorial. That was easy. Easy peasy. Any questions? Did anybody try it? If you guys tried it, post it in the disco. Post a picture on the disco. I want to give everyone a couple minutes because I want to see what they look like if anybody tried it. Kim, thank you for the rose. But yeah, so that's a fun little water technique. That's actually really, I know every time I go into somebody's live, I always hear like, oh my God, water is so stressful. This is like an easy way to do water that like is not stressful, doesn't take a lot of skill. It's just squiggly lines. I did my version last night on live. Oh, did you do a water page? Nice. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next thing. Yeah, post on the chit chat. If you tried a water technique, post it on the chit chat while I put the markers away. I'm curious if anybody tried it. I want to see what they look like. I know they're gonna be so good. Oh yeah, the lantern page. I saw, yeah, you did something similar. It's really, it's a nice water technique and it works. It's easy. You don't have to stress out. I'm not a big fan of the water where you do like the circles and then they use the white acrylic and do all, it just looks like, it looks unnatural to me. Like the water doesn't normally look like that. Like normally there's glare from the sun and stuff. So I'm just more of a fan of a more natural looking water, but there is plenty of ways you can do water. Okay. Ariana Mooney did water on her. Oh, really? Nice, nice. I don't know if I follow Ariana Moody. Okay, that's good, Lacey. I like it. It's cute. I like how you use greens. Nice. Okay. Yeah, the trick to doing this, it's good for bold and easy. Not a nice. So yeah, the trick is make sure your base is a light color. That's like the biggest trick. Okay, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the next technique. So everyone was asking about colorless blenders, everyone. So I figured before we get to the page, I'm just gonna go through a quick little like introduction to colorless blenders, how to use them, what they're used for. Yeah, Lacey, do you have a swatch book? That's one thing I highly recommend. I know a lot of you have recently started to get like your big sets in. Order yourself a nice swatch book that you can put. I think some of the markers come with a swatch card that you can use, but make sure you like swatch them because they're gonna look different than the caps, which is kind of a pain, but you know, that's how it goes. So I really like having a nice swatch book. Okay, so colorless blenders. I'm gonna pull out a few because I have multiple brands here. They are going to typically have the number 0 on them. And depending on your marker set, you'll have different ones, right? So these are all examples of colorless blenders. I have a swatch book and use my big sketchbook for extra palettes. Yes, I do the same. I have a practice book that I use for all of my blending and everything in here. All my palettes. This is a good one. All my palettes are in here, everything. So I do the same. Okay, so colorless blenders are typically zeros. They're gonna have a 0 on the marker. Most sets, like for example, this is the Shuttle Art one. We have a RX one. We have an Ohuhu. So most sets, I think some of the cheapy, like the super cheaper sets may not come with colorless blenders. You might have to like get a set of them. I believe in my showcase I have a set of some, but you should be able to find just like a set of like, you know, like a 4 or 5 pack of colorless blenders if you don't have one. If you don't have a blender, I highly recommend it. You're gonna want, this is what's gonna kind of take your coloring to the next level. So some of the things that you can use colorless blenders on, and the list is longer than this, but I was just kind of putting a few things out. Jeans, any kind of fuzzy patterns like fuzzy animals, fuzzy rugs, glow effect, bricks, ombre blend, bubbles, water drops. I'm gonna just pull out a few pages that I know have the technique in them that I can show you some examples. So if I go in here, so if you look at the brick, see how they have kind of like a worn look to them? That's with the colorless blender. The tile at the top, I kind of did some shading at the top to make it look worn. That's a colorless blender. There's quite a few things on here that are colorless blenders. So I'm gonna show you guys some examples of how you can use them. So let's just start with jeans. I normally use for my jeans MG30, and I use B250, no, I lied. B250, B260, and B270 are my typical go-to colors for jeans. So if you wanted to do jeans, I'll show you how you can use a colorless blender. I'll just use the RX just for now. It doesn't matter, they're all the same. You're gonna start, like, color in whatever you're coloring. So I'm gonna color in my jeans. And what this is gonna do is this is gonna help give like a more textured jean look to your jeans and have them look faded. The trick to doing this pattern is you wanna make sure when you're using a colorless blender, if you're going over it, you are going over it quickly, because if it starts to dry, you'll see how it's kind of giving that like worn look to it. That's exactly what we want. It's kind of fading the color and giving you this worn look. So, and then what I do is I go on top of it and I do lines, and that's just gonna push your ink around and give you more of that blend. And then you can take your next color, if you want to do some highlighting down the sides, you can kind of, you know, do your normal shadowing and stuff like that. You want to do a little bit of a highlight going up the legs. And that's going to give you that like really natural jean look. So that's one example there of a colorless blender. So you can use it on jeans or any kind of clothing. Let's put these back. You can also use it on bubbles. Yeah, blend, color, blend. You're gonna, when you start blending and shadowing, you're gonna start to realize like you're gonna do multiple blends. It's just, you're just gonna keep blending until a lot of things come out how they want. So let's do a bubble, and I'll show you on the bubble how you can do it. So I'm just gonna pull out a yellow real quick. We'll just pull out Y30. I'm gonna pull out a pink real quick, RV130, and I'll pull out a blue real quick, B50. Okay. So another way you can use colorless blenders is on a bubble. So you take your colorless blender first, go over your entire bubble area, and while it's wet, do a little pink, a little yellow. I'm just barely touching those with each other. Take our blue. And then you take your colorless blender in the middle, and you're gonna do circular actions, and you're really just pushing that ink around until you get it so it's just around the edges and it really has that like bubble look to it. And then obviously you can use an acrylic, you can outline your bubble, you know, you can do all the normal things that you would do. So that's another example on the bubbles. Okay. Anything else? I could show you the brick. Show you an example of how you can use it on brick. RB130. Okay. So let me just take out a color. BR2. So let's just say you're doing a brick. You know, you color in your brick like you normally would. All right, here's your brick, right? You got your brick done. So, you know, sometimes I do my highlight. You can actually use the colorless blender to give like a worn effect by just doing like a dotting motion on your brick, and it kind of can give you like a worn effect. So I do that a lot on like tile floors. We did it earlier on our, where's the page? Where's the record store page? On our tiles, we used colorless blender earlier this morning. So you can use it on any time you want to have like more of that worn look. You can use a colorless blender, and you're just taking the colorless blender and dot, dot, dot. You're just applying dots on top of the alcohol marker. You can also use it for ombre effects. So if I pull out 3 shades of green, G110, G130, G170, colorless blender. You can start with your colorless blender where you want it the lightest, right? So I'm going to put some right here. And then you can continue on coloring your ombre effect. And it kind of gives like a light white, but kind of blends in a little bit with the green. So you can use that on anytime you're doing like any kind of like ombre effects with your whatever colors you're doing. Like a lot of times we do this with the gold. Let me pull out, I'll show you an example. G130, G170. So in our practice book, and we did this a while back, but I'll show you guys again. Where's that circle? The silver here. So that middle is a colorless blender. So if I pull out CG 20, 30, 50, and 70. Stacy, welcome to the team. Thank you, everyone. Let's welcome. Let's get the new sub stickers in for Stacy. Welcome. I will also get you your sub page for your sticker here in just a sec. Let me just finish this tutorial. So on the silver effect, you can start with a colorless blender, right? So you're going to start light, and then you are going light to dark. If I opened it on the right side, right? So you're doing this. So you can use that colorless blender to lighten up that center. Okay? So you can use it on gold, silver. We used it yesterday on our sun. So what I did is I just put colorless blender there in the middle, and then I went around it with other colors. So any type of glow effect. Table at the diner. Yes, on the diner. So any type of glow effect, you can use colorless blender as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, animals, fuzzy effect. We're going to do this on the page, but let's just say you have your animal, right? And, you know, I'm not worried about saying the lines because we're just doing a practice tutorial. You color in your animal. What's darker than BR2? BR2 is YR10. You know, you do your highlight or your shadow like we normally do. Right, you do your shadow. you blend it back in with your shadow, right? You get everything natural. Okay, you can use a colorless blender to create fuzz. I typically let it dry before I do this, so I give it a minute to dry. And then you can take your colorless blender out using the brush tip side, and you can just do like dabbing, stippling like we do on the grass and stuff. And it creates like this fuzzy look. So it's kind of dry, somewhat dry, come on. So you can just take your colorless blender, start dabbing all over the face, and it's gonna kind of give this like fuzzy look to it. And then you could take your darker shade, and then I usually do like, you know, dotting around the edges where the highlight is. So you can use the colorless blender to create like a fuzzy bear kind of effect. There's a lot of other spots you can use it, rugs, but those are just some examples. I know a lot of you had questions on, what do I do with this blender? That's some ways of how you can use it. Obviously you can use it to like blend in colors. I don't really use it for blending, honestly. I use it more for like, you know, jeans, making my animals fuzzy, doing glow effect, doing bubbles, doing ombre. If you want to do like water drops or whatever, let's just say you have, I'm using gray, but it's fine. I just don't want to pull out more color. So let's just say you have like a puddle here, right? And then you've gone in and you've made some darker bubble type thing. You could use the colorless blender to create like a little droplet effect by just going over the center like this. And then you can take a darker color. You want to outline it. And then you can take your little, you know, so you can do bubbles, droplets. Yeah, so on the bear, and we'll do it today on the dog on the page. I always do my color, my shadowing, and then I do my fuzzy effect. Because you want to give everything like a second to dry. Because if you try to do it on really wet alcohol, it's not going to be as good of an effect. So a lot of times when I'm doing fuzzy, I give it just a little bit of time. Okay, we need to get Stacy her sub page real quick. And then we're going to start moving on to our page. So while I get Stacy's thing, if you guys want to get your books out and go to the ice cream page. In the disco, I posted this page. These are going to be all the colors that I'm probably using, but you don't have to follow me if you want to do something different. But I'm going to use these colors. Let me get her page real quick, and then we can get started. Let's see. Okay, Stacy, what is your favorite color, my friend? You're coming through twice? An echo? Am I echoing? Purple. Okay. Am I echoing to anybody else? All right, let me get Stacy her page. So Stacy, we do, since you're new here, we do sub lives twice a week. We do them on Saturdays and Wednesday nights. So you'll have access to that. You'll also, I typically go live for everyone in the morning. Every morning is usually, or at lunchtime. And you'll also have access to our sub stickers and our disco, which is where we do buddy colors and chit chat and all the things. So if you can't get into the disco, send me a DM and I can send you the direct link. Let's see. I want to make sure I spell it right. Stacie. All right, let me get you a sticker. Let me see if I can find something that has some purple. Some purple in it. Yes, welcome Stacy, everyone. Thank you, thank you. We have an amazing community here. Everyone is so good. Like, my bestie coloring friends. It's so weird without the music. Like, it's so awkward. But I can't have music on the subby lives for whatever reason. You know what? I'm going to give you this really cool cat. Here's the first one. So yeah, so every time you come in and you send like a heart me or anything, you get a sticker and you have your own page, and I have everyone kind of alphabetized. Ugh, except I can't really get it under my... So let's go to the S's. Okay, Sam, let's see, ST, Sheila. You're gonna be right before Sunset. Sunset's the overachiever with all her 8 million stickers. It's because people, yeah, it's because people pay to be here, so it's using copyright music for pay. Oh yeah, that's true. I heard that you could use not copyrighted, like a lot of lo-fi, but I don't trust that, so we are just gonna go without any. I've heard people say that they've tried to do that and they've had issues, so we're gonna be safe and just not have any music. Okay, so let's move on. We're gonna be coloring in Cozy Cuties. For those of you that it's this book here, we are gonna do this page, and I'm gonna kind of just like color the page and teach you guys some little things as we go along using our palette. I just wanna get everything put away here real quick, and then we will get started. And all these things that I'm doing, you guys do not have to copy my color choices. Like if you wanna do, like I think Hugh said she was gonna do pastels. Like don't feel like you have to use the same colors if you wanna kinda do something a little bit different. I'm just gonna teach you some basics, and yeah, we're gonna have some fun. Okay. CG30. Hi, Kat. Oh, because, yeah, that's true. The AI doesn't know that it's copyright free. So you're just better off doing no music, honestly. Okay. Have you heard of... No. So I have several brands of acrylic. I have Time Tome, Shuttle Art, I have Arteco, obviously the RX, which are my absolute favorite. I have the off-brand one, which is like this one. This one here. So I have quite a few, but I haven't heard of that brand. No. But I have quite a bit. Okay. Don't forget to put your cardstock in. I think we're going to start with the balloon because this should be relatively not easy, but easier because we did the balloon tutorial the other night, Wednesday. So this should be a recap for some of you. For some of you that missed it, this will be new. I'm going to be using these colors here. I'm going to start with the red balloon. So those are the colors that if you want to pull out some colors, you can obviously do something different, but we're going to do a red balloon, a blue balloon, and a red balloon. So I'm going to grab my colors and we are going to get started here. For some of you, this may be, wait, is Little Mama in here? She loves her balloons. So, she's probably a pro by now. Dun, dun, dun. All right, balloon time. So, we are going to start by pulling out our colors. Well, I guess the 48 pastel mid-tone set and the 104 set will have... Yeah, there are some dupes. When I ordered the Ohuhus, I ordered the 320, and I also got the gray set, and I had so many dupes. I feel like almost all of them were dupes, which was a little bit like, but you know what? Honestly, you're going to use them. So having dupes is actually not a bad thing. Okay, so we need R150, we need R170, and R180. Okay, and then you'll need an acrylic. All right, here we go. I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit. All right. Yeah, I mean, even with my RX, you're gonna get dupes in some of the sets. And honestly, like, dupes are not a bad thing. Because the one thing you don't want to happen is you order markers, you use a marker, you're halfway through something, and it runs out of color. It's like because then it's like, well, what do I do now? So I actually like having extra markers. Okay, we're gonna be starting with our darkest shade. For me, this is R180. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your R180 or whatever your darkest red is, and you are going to be drawing a line from here, and you wanna leave room on the edge, here to about here, okay? So that's step one. Then I'm gonna take my next darkest, which is R170, and I am going to be going around the balloon, coloring in all this area here, going all the way around, and then even going to about there. Okay? I'm taking R180 again, my dark shade, drawing a little section like this right here, and then I'm going back in, deepening up this. Now I'm taking R150, and I am basically coloring in this whole area, but you want to leave like an open space. Okay, so just fill in, blend it. And then in that open space is going to be your very lightest shade, whatever. I'm using R190. Okay, and then what I always tell everyone is go back in, fill in, take your other shade, blend that back in. Okay. Your balloon should look something like that if you were following around. Now, I always tell everyone, wait to do your acrylic until this dries. The reds and pinks are very, very vibrant, and you will get pink on your acrylic lines. So I always tell everyone, whenever you're doing balloon detail, wait until it dries. And then I want to fill bottom part in right here, the shade. Okay, so we're gonna give that a second to dry. I'm gonna do one more red balloon behind it, and then we're gonna do a blue balloon. So we're gonna do this one more time. Same thing, here, 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 give it a nice, leave a little space. Take R170, and you're gonna fill in around it, blend that in. You're gonna go all the way around, like that. You're gonna bring this up to about here. Take your dark shade, make a little section here for your dark one. Fill that in, darken it, darken it. Take your next shade. Yeah, darkest first, then your lighter, then your dark again, and then you're taking your R150 and you're leaving a little area. Blend that in. And then R190 or whatever your lightest shade is gonna go right here. Fill that in. And then you can go ahead and kind of just deepen up wherever it needs to be deepened. And then I'm gonna fill in my R170 area, blend that in, give it a nice blend, and there you go. Okay. So you should have two balloons, hopefully. I'll give everyone a minute. Let me know when you have your two red balloons. Just put like a thumb up in the chat. So I'll give everyone a couple minutes. If you have questions, let me know. And then we will continue on to our next blue balloon. I'm gonna see who's in here. All right, we have Sunset, Ash, Kim. Ooh, everyone's in here. Bill, Lacey, Hugh, Raven. Hi, Raven. Hi, friend. Lisa, Stacy, Kat, okay, Jamie. Oh, little mama, I want to see those balloons, girl. Kat's here, Mimi's here, Amy's here, Anna, Jules. Oh my God, everyone. The whole crew is here. Chris is here. Okay. Hi, friends. I'm glad you guys could all make it. You have 0 pages. Well, Bill, you know, you could just draw one on a piece of paper. You could draw one, just like hand draw one and try it. No pages? Really? Cozy Eras 2 doesn't have a balloon? I'm shocked. You're doing it on a surfboard? Oh my God. Oh wait, are people posting them in the disco? Let me look. Bill, I like the water. Oh my God, you guys are doing so good. You're making Coloring Mama happy. Oh, that's a good lead on for it. Oh no. I'm gonna make videos, Raven. Have no fear. Go rest. Feel better. We'll be here. Thank you for stopping in. All right, put the thumb up when you get your 2 red balloons done so I know when we're in a good spot. I only have 1. Cozy Eris 2 has to have a balloon. Really? I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked that there's no balloon. Hang on. There's got to be a balloon on this page. There's no way that Jade Summer would make a page without a balloon. Really? Oh, Raven, I think I DM'd you the link. Check your DMs. Maybe there's not a balloon. Maybe. Yeah, if you guys don't have the link to the disco, definitely get it because we have lots of fun in there. Balloons? Really? Jade Summer, what on earth? I'm just watching, glad to hear. Yes, we will be having video tutorials for all this. Yeah, maybe there isn't a balloon. Interesting. I feel like every book has a balloon. I feel like it's very common. But, yep, no balloon. Oh well. They failed us, exactly. Coloring Mama, thank you for the rose. All right, let me know. Thumb up in the chat when you guys have finished your balloon, your 2 balloons. You don't have any balloons. Okay, that's fine. You don't want to, if you guys want, you could just draw, take a pen or a pencil, and you could just practice this way. You know, just make a little balloon like that. I'm trying to think what. Oh, it was the wiener dog. I'll show you an example of a page that I did with a bunch of balloons. It was really fun, actually. You created your own ice. Yeah, this was like one of my first balloon pages. Look at that dog. He's so cute. So cute. So this is the situation. I was so scared to do a balloon. One of my good coloring friends, Grace, would like, for months and months and months, would be like, Tiffany, you need to do a balloon, you need to do a balloon. So then on one live, she basically forced me to do a balloon while I was live. And I've never done it in my life before. And it actually went quite well. And I was like, you know what? These are actually not bad. And then I was like, I'm going to teach everyone to not be, because I was so scared to do a balloon. Like, I was like frightened. So my goal became to teach everyone in Color Talk how to do a foil balloon so nobody feels as scared as I felt. So that's my goal in life. All right. I think this first one I can start detailing. So while you guys are finishing your balloons, I'm going to just start doing some detailing just to show you guys like how you can do that. So the first thing I do, and you want to make sure this dries. So if you just did your balloon, give it a minute. But I do a big white spot here. I do a big line coming down. I do a curve here, a small curve here, 2 little lines there, another line that's coming down, a line that comes there, a big curve here, a circle, another big curve. I do a small curve right here, 2 lines, 1 line, something like that. And you could really kind of be creative with your highlighting, but that's really what's going to make it look like a foil balloon. My Spooky Summer has one page I think that would match this, but I did it already. Oh, you did the balloon? I want to see what it looked like. Okay, and then if you want to really get crafty, you could take a red acrylic and outline the black line if you want to hide the black line, but I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, is anybody still working before we move on to the blue? Let me know. If you need another minute, let me know. This one's pretty dry too, so I think we can probably do our detailing here. And then one big one, circle, one big one, and there. Probably do two there. Thanks for the follow. Okay, so that's what it looks like with detailing. All right, I think we're gonna move on to blue then, as if everyone's good. So I'm gonna put the red markers away, and we will move on to our blue. And we're basically gonna do the exact same technique, but we're gonna use the blue colors to do a blue balloon. So I'm pulling out B50. I'm pulling out PB7. I'm pulling out B70 and B90. If you don't have Ohuhus, find balloons that are close to this range if you can find something. Okay, those are the markers we're gonna use. So I always line mine up in order. It makes things easy. So it goes that one, PB7 second, B70 third, B90 last. Okay, here we go. Same exact technique, but this time with the blue. So you're gonna take your B90. You mean color? Oh, yeah. All right, same thing, ready? We're gonna start up here, leave a little space. We're gonna go down, and that's actually probably not gonna pop up that high, so I'm just gonna stop it there. We're gonna take B70, and we are going to fill this in, go around. This is gonna come up to about there. If you wanna go back in and fill in your darkest, you can. We're gonna do our little spot here in the middle. And then we're taking PB7, remember, and we're gonna leave a little spot. So we're gonna color that in, color around. Go in with your lightest color, which is B50, or whatever shade you're using. Blend, 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 blend. Okay, and then I basically just retouch up everything. That. Taking this one, touching up here. Touching up here. Okay. Can fill this in here. Okay. And it's basically the same thing, but it is just with your blue shades instead of red. And once that dries, we can do the same white acrylic. Okay. So go ahead and try your blue. Yeah, it looks, once you start doing the white acrylic on it, it really comes to life. And I always give it a minute. And if you wanted to get really creative, you could like outline the black line in acrylics. I'm not gonna do that right now, but you could do that. Animation vibes, thank you. Just gonna give that a second. Okay, so same thing here. Big circle, one that goes down. You can do like a small one here that goes up. One big one here. This one's gonna be kind of thick. A circle, another one that goes down, and then you can do your little like, you know, little lines there. I wanna thicken this one up a little bit. And same thing. So now we have our 3 balloons. Our 3 balloons. And that, in a nutshell, is balloons. I want to go look. Ooh. All right, I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to finish up your balloons. And then I think next we're going to move on to the apple and the tree. Yeah, balloons are fun. I enjoy doing them. I'm going to start pulling out my tree and apple colors while you guys finish up. So if you want to also start pulling them out, these are going to be the colors I pull out. Oh, 34, R2, PR2. Okay. It's for the trunk, and then G80, G260, and G470. Okay. All right. Why doesn't everyone put a balloon in the chat when you have your balloons done? It's just so I can get an idea of how we're doing. If we need more time. Let's see. Okay. Okay, Hugh's done. Perfect. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see. Now, when you do your live, you can do fun balloons. Okay, Lisa's got them. Oh, I'm so excited for you guys to share after the class. I can't wait to see what these balloons look like. You're watching first and do it. That's smart. A lot of people do that. Yeah, don't feel like you have to color. If you just want to come and hang out and watch, that is totally fine. I practice the balloons. Oh, it's cute. Oh my God, I love it. You're so creative. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, I think we're ready to move on then. So we got our tree. Let's pull out the apple colors. GY6, R150, R3. Actually, I'm going to do R4, I think. I might use R4. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to use R4 instead of R3, but you can use either of them. And then R284. Okay. The colors for the tree are right here. So for the trunk, I'm using YR34, YR2, BR2. And then I'm using G80, G260, G470 for the actual like tree branch, or like the grassy part of the tree. But feel free if you want to use something different to change it up. Okay, I'm going to do the apple first. Okay, so I'm starting with GY6. I know you're probably like, we're doing red apples. Why are we using GY6? Because apples always have a little, let me show you guys a picture of one. They always have like a little spot on them where they're soft, right? So we are going to do this technique, which is going to kind of give your apples like this kind of color, okay? That's what we're going for. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take GY6, and I'm going to do just a teeny little spot right here with GY6. I'm going to take R150, and I'm basically just going around that spot. And then I'm going to come back in with R150, cover it up, just so you can still see a little bit of it, but not really. And then I'm taking GY6 again, and I'm blending on top of R150 until you get that spot again. So you'll see it's come through on the blend. And then I'm going to take either R3 or R4, and I'm going to give this apple kind of like at an angle, come down and give it a shadow so it's kind of darker, like that. And then I'm going to use a really dark red to just like outline the very edge of the apple. So something like that. And then the last thing I do is I take my white acrylic and I give a little highlight. Okay? And that's basically an apple in the nutshell. So I'm going to do it again in case you missed the first one. One thing I did for my husband is I drew a sun and placed it above. Oh, that's nice. I love that. So we're taking GY6. We're doing our little spot. We're taking R150, coloring everything around the spot first. And just color a little bit over the spot. Go back with your GY6 and blend that in so you get a nice little apple spot. Thank you for the heart me, or yeah, the heart me. Take your R4, R3, bring this down, blend it. And then go in with your dark color and just give the edge of your apple just a very slight little shadow all around the edges. Just a very slight shadow. And then take your acrylic and draw a little curve. And that is how you can do apples. You can do the same technique with green apples, just using green, red, whichever color pattern you want, but there you go. There is the apples. Okay, we're gonna move on now to the tree. So for this, we are gonna be doing like a sunset sky. So I'm gonna have kind of like a little bit of a glare coming down on the page. So we are gonna kind of like give a highlight to the trunk to kind of make it look a little bit lighter on this side and kind of get darker as we go in. So we are going to work on that next. So I'm pulling out YR34. What am I pulling out? Yeah, YR34, YR2, and BR2. Okay. Very first thing I'm going to do is take YR34 and I'm going to kind of just put that on the just the very edge here of the tree. Just to lighten up that side where the sun is coming down. And then YR2, we're going to blend that in, blend that in. The sticker is covering the tree. Oh, I'll just remove that. Hang on. I'll just put it down there for a sec. So go ahead and I'm going to color in this, and then we're going to take the darker color and add some shadows onto this back side. I'm going to go back in with my lighter, lighten that up a little bit. Take the dark one. Bring this down. Bring this down. A little bit of shadow coming down. It's going to be darker down here at the bottom. And then I take a darker color, which is typically E310. And this page already has lines for the tree, so I'm just kind of giving those a highlight. Normally I would draw these on myself, but since this page already has it, if you want to add some extra ones, like up here, you could add, you know, some little lines coming off the tree branch if you want. Okay. Hi, Kurt. Okay. Now I can't remove that sub. Okay. How come I can't delete this? Hang on. Let me go to shop. It's not letting me get rid of it. So I'm just going to stick it right down there at the bottom so it's out of the way. What is your process to think through all the colors when you lay them out on the page? I think at this point I've done so many pages that I kind of just know what I'm doing, but I typically kind of think through like a palette when I start. You know, is there a certain color pattern I'm going with? Is it nighttime? Is it daytime? Because your shadows and things are going to be darker depending on when it is. Oh, you're getting the book, Kurt. Awesome. We use this book a lot for the class. So awesome. Yeah. It's a great book. Awesome. So then what I do is I'm going to even add a little bit of yellow to the edge of that tree with an acrylic. So I am going to go and take probably, what does 10 look like? I haven't even swatched all these yet. So let's see. Where's 10? 10 is here. No, that's too white. I think I'm going to go in with CO3 and add a little bit of yellow. Going down the tree, just to really bring out that shadow. I know, they're good. They're so good. Okay. So that's step one. And then once it dries, if you want to darken up any of these, like, you know, shadows, your little highlights, you can do that as well. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. I came in late. What did you... Oh, these are the colors we used for the balloons. These colors right here. Okay. We're going to move on to the tree. So, for the tree, you're going to start with G80, and you are just going to color in the entire top of the tree, or whatever light color you want as your base. You always want to pick a light color for the base, and then we're going to use stippling technique to darken up the tree. And you don't have to do green if you guys want to do like a pink tree or an autumn tree, or you can use the same technique I'm teaching you for any color. So I know some people wanted to use some different colors. That is totally fine. So I'm just kind of going around everything, coloring everything around the trees, around the apple. And then I let it dry before I start doing any sort of like stippling technique, just because it works out best. I can't, imaginations. Okay. So we're going to give that a second to dry. I really like G80 as a base. It works out really well. Sometimes I use GY4, but I find myself using the same markers all the time, so I started challenging myself to try other combinations. So that is what we are doing. So I'll give everybody a second there, and I'm gonna just let that dry for a second, and then we will go ahead in and start doing our tree effects. Is G260 the same shade? G260 is the middle shade that I'm using. That is a darker shade. I was participating, but there was some... Oh, no, you're fine. You're totally fine. Okay. Now that that's somewhat dry, I'm going to go on top and just do some stippling with the same color that the background is, just to kind of fill in, start to give it a little bit of dimension. And when I say stippling, you're just taking your brush tip at an angle, or if you have fine tip, you can do the same thing with a fine tip, And I'm just going and adding a bunch of dots. Okay. And then we're gonna kind of do the same thing, but we're gonna kind of bring it down. So we're gonna want the darkest colors to be at the bottoms of the tree, right? In these little areas, and then so we're gonna gradually get darker. So I'm gonna take G260. Feels like I already need more Ohuhus. Yeah, and if you guys don't have the same colors, like just get anything that's close. You don't have to like have the exact same shades. Ohuhu has a ton of like greens and stuff, so like there's a lot of options that will work. Okay, so I'm gonna start about right here, and I'm gonna start stippling in, but this time we're going in with our second shade. So I'm just going in, and this is basically like what we did yesterday on the sand on my page, but instead of sand, we are using, it's on the tray, obviously. So just going in, stippling in, really filling in that area with this color, okay? And I use just a little bit at the top. I leave with nothing up there. All right, so I'm gonna really fill this in, get it nice and well. And you're just doing dotting. You're just holding your brush tip down and just just like that, okay? Yeah, where these black lines are here, where there's like little bush things, that's where I'm gonna make it the darkest. Okay, then I'm going in with G470 or whatever your dark color is, and then like, yeah, right here, there's gonna be a shadow, right? Around the apple, there's probably gonna be a shadow, so you can kind of add some shadows there. Up here, there will be a shadow. Down in here, right? So we're just going in and darkening up the areas. I always have the bottom of the tree dark. So down here, we're gonna really darken this up. And then if you want to even go a little bit further, you can pull out like a GY43, which is even a little bit darker, and even darken that up even more at the very base of the tree if you feel like it needs it. And then we missed our apple up here, so we can do the same thing. That. And then what I will typically do is on this light part is I'll take my acrylic and kind of outline it in white to give it a little bit of a glare. And I'm actually going to go over that, I think, with yellow after to kind of lighten it up to give it a little sun glare. And same down here. So, I don't know why I did that white. CO8, I think, is the color that I'm going to use. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, since the sun is probably going to be coming down, I'm just going to give these a little bit. I'm going to lighten up this a little bit. And then go over this as well. Just to give a nice shadow coming off the tree. Okay. Some people do like white acrylic in their trees. You can. I'm not a big fan. I usually just use it on like the edges if I need it. And I actually want to just touch this up a little bit. Cover the black lines. All right. So the tree's done, and then if I want to like add a little bit more, I can definitely do that. You're kind of just wherever you feel like it needs it the most. You want to add a little bit of this one. Oh my God, that scared me. Thank you, Raven. If you want to add a little bit more, kind of just keep going until you get it to the effect that you like. Thank you for the roses. Okay. what happens if you, I mean, you could use a colorless blender. I've never used one, but I mean, I'm sure you could. Did you outline the tree? Yeah. So the yellow here, I just used my RX acrylic because we're going to kind of do like a bright sky. We're going to imagine that the sun is kind of coming down. So I kind of just gave it a little bit of a shadow on the trunk and the edge of the tree just to kind of accent that. But yeah, I just use an acrylic. You could have technically used a alcohol marker and blended it in, but I kind of like the look of the acrylic, so it's a personal thing. Okay. I think I'm gonna do the sky next. Hi, Anne. So we're gonna move on to the sky. Let me put some of these colors away while you guys are working on your tree. And then I'm gonna move on to the sky blend, and then we'll kind of start working our way down. Ooh, it's already an hour. It's already an hour. How does that hour go by so fast? Okay, Y30, RV160, and V322, I think. I normally do an hour, but we just started, so I think we'll probably go like a half hour, maybe. Okay, so, because we did the water and we did the colorless blender, which took a bit of time. So we're gonna just keep going for a little bit longer. So, yeah, thank you guys. So I'm gonna take my 3 colors. I'm gonna start with my yellow closest to the bushes here. And we're gonna color that in first. Probably go just to the bottom of this balloon. Okay. Guys, here, here, here. That's part of the stand. Make sure this is wet, nice and wet. Okay, before you go to your next blend. And then I'm gonna take my pink. Blend, 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 blend. You're gonna wanna kinda go somewhat fast here. You wanna make sure, I tell everyone you have about 5 seconds. Once you have something wet. Now these lines here are like our friends because they're going to help us out. So you gotta kinda go fast. You'll see I kind of go circular motion, blend that in really well, blend that in, blend it in, and then get this nice and wet. I'm gonna put this up to probably about here. Blend it in. Okay, and then we're gonna go into our purple. You're just kind of, I do like squiggly motions. Okay, and then we are going to go here. And luckily these balloons made it so easy. I love when pages do this because then it's not as big of an area. You can kind of do it like in chunks. So if there's ever something on the page that breaks up your page, use it to your advantage. It will help you. So we're just gonna go ahead and color these in. Okay, now here's the trick. If you notice your sky is like not a good blend, you can actually go backwards at this point, right? So you can go over your purple and then literally just go reapply the same thing. And this will help sometimes really balance out your blends. If you notice that, you know, they're a little bit streaky or you wanna kind of make them a little bit better, you can take them and reapply them a second coat. So we can do the same thing here. I don't really need to worry about this section too much, but we'll just touch it up a little bit. Touch it up a little bit. And I'm gonna, because the line breaks it up with the balloon, we can kind of do this by itself. So give it a nice little blend, circular motion to blend. Okay. And then same thing here. If you want to reapply, you can go here, fill this in, and then you can re-blend your yellow. Reblend. I don't typically do the reblends unless I absolutely need it because I don't want to waste the ink, but if you feel like you need to reapply, you can reapply. Those are colors are, yeah, these are good colors for like a nice sunset-y kind of sky. Okay, sky's done. I want to at least get to the doggy because I want to show you guys the colorless blender. So I'm gonna pull out a few. I had a very light orange between the pink and yellow. Yeah, you can definitely do that too. If I show you guys my blend book, I normally do an orange. I was like, so I will normally do a yellow and an orange. I was just kind of doing something quick. I'll typically use like a pinky orange in between. So yeah, you can use any color combinations. But yeah, I typically do use an orange. I was just kind of going fast. But yeah, so these blends should all be in the disco too if you ever want to use any of these blends. Yeah, but that is very true. The closer the colors are to each other, the easier they'll be to blend. So if you're starting out, try to find colors that are pretty close. Like this is hard to do because it's such a stark difference. Okay, so for our little doggy, okay, we are taking E280. Let's see, let me pull these colors out. E280. I'm pulling out E210. E220 and BR2. Okay, BR2 is already out. Okay. So I'm gonna start with E280 and I'm going to just color in our dog. And this will be a fluffy dog. And we'll start with the head first. Okay. Taking the next shade and giving a pretty good shadow to it. Just blending that in. And I'm going to take this next color and just do a very small highlight around the blend. And this is kind of like what I do on the Dangles pages when you guys see those blends. I'm kind of just taking a couple different shades, shadowing it in, blending it in. Okay. And then at that point, you can take your colorless blender if you want to make it fluffy. And you can take... I don't want the fine tip one, I want the regular one. Take your blender and you can do the dotting, and this is just gonna make him look fluffy. Okay, and once I do the fluffy, what I then do is I start doing dotting along the edges to just kind of brighten up the blend. I'm kind of just taking the second shade here and doing kind of like a stippling little motion. You can darken up the bottom of the ears. Okay, this is definitely going to be darker down under the ear. So you can start just adding different highlights and stuff to it. I'm using E110, E280, E220. And then if you want to add a darker shadow with BR2, you can kind of just go on the very edges and start to give him a nice shadow. Okay, so that's how you can, so now if you look at him, he kind of, it has that like fluffy look. So we can do the exact same thing with his body. And you're just using the other colors however you want to kind of just add some shadows. And I'm not doing really a glare on him because the balloons are kind of blocking the sun in this building. So I've decided not to really give them much of a highlight, a yellow glare, but we could have added like a little yellow tint if we wanted to. Like up here, we might do it on the dog. Okay, same thing. Oh, did I go the opposite? No, I didn't. I was like, wait, did I go the opposite way? Just giving a little bit of shadow, and I'm just blending those colors in. Blending, blending. Same thing. Add his fur, his fluffy. I feel like I flipped the colors around. Did I? Oh yeah, E280 is lighter. That's fine. We can. E280. We can kind of go over it if we want to lighten it up a little bit. I think I flipped them. Okay, and then we can go in and do our shadowing. I always do shadowing on the arms and legs, under the neck. And then you can slowly, and you just did around his body, just did it. Yeah, so I think I flipped the colors, so we'll see when it dries, but it's fine. This is just for class purposes. And then once I do the fur, you can go ahead in with this darker color, E220, and you can kind of start adding some shadows wherever there would be a shadow, like under his neckline, on his back, down his leg. You can kind of start adding a shadow in wherever it seems like there would be one. And I kind of make the shadow pretty thick, on the thicker side, because I'm gonna then go in with BR2 and add a very light shadow of the darker, just wherever I feel like it's needed on the very tips of the other one. Okay, just light, easy little shadows like that. And actually, I think those are fine. And then you can kind of tell once it's done, like he's kind of has that fluffy kind of appearance to him. And then you can do the same thing if we want to use different colors. I think on the dog, I'm going to use Y6, YR33, and Y180. Y180, where is Y180? Y180, okay. Because I want to give him a little bit of glare, potentially coming down. So I'm gonna just do a little bit of this yellow just on the tip. And then we can blend that in with this like lighter brown golden-y color. And that's how, if you want to have like a light, you know, like a shadow, you can kind of do it that way. And then I'm gonna just add a highlight with the darker going down the edge. So same thing. I'm going to use this light YR33, give him a little bit of a shadow just on his right here. And blend that in, give it a nice blend. Oh man, did I do that again? Fuck, I did it again. I keep grabbing the wrong colors. Let's blend that out. And then we can darken this up right here. Darken it up, darken it up. It should have been Y6 first. I grabbed the wrong color because I'm trying to go a little faster here. And then we can lighten this up. See how this is still wet? So I can still go in and really give this that nice little glow that we want. And then I'm gonna just darken up the edges of his hair here. That. If we wanna go back in, re-blend that in just to give it that natural kind of look so it all looks like it's all together. And then same thing on the ears here. If we want to do a little bit of a glare off the edge, we can do that. Blend it in with the next shade here. Blend, blend, blend. And then we can even blend it in with the next darkest. Just like that. Okay. And then on this side, we're not going to have the glare, so we're just going to have our two shades, so we can do the same thing. And we can blend that in, give it a nice blend. I usually do, like, you'll see I do a lot of like circular motions just to really kind of get that blend in a good spot. Okay. And then we can do the exact same thing with the body. And if we wanted to add shaggy, we could definitely go back in and touch up, you know. Could make him fluffy. Like that. Okay. Did I miss any comments? No comments. You guys are quiet. You must be coloring. And then, yeah, we can do the same thing on the body. So I'm taking YR33. Coloring in the entire body. we can do the exact same thing, and I'm gonna leave a little bit there. I'm gonna go in with a darker shade because the doggy is there, so there's probably like a shadow coming off the dog that's a little bit darker. And then same thing here, we can give him a shadow. A shadow under his hair. Shadow around his ears, wherever you feel like doing the shadow. You can even do, and then I'm gonna shadow on his hand. There's gonna be a shadow coming off the dog. And my tree. Clothes, not money. Okay, and then if you want, you can always like lighten it up even more. Sometimes I'll take an acrylic if I want to add some real like fluff. If you want to really like lighten something up, you know, you could go in and do something like that. Add a little glare to it. And then we can take our colorless blender, fluff out his body, make him nice and fluffy. Okay. And that's an example of how you can do some shading, some fluff, using your colorless blenders. But yeah. Okay, we're at 2:30. Anybody have, is there anything specific else you guys want to see, or we can save the rest for Wednesday because we've been going for an hour and a half. I think it's a good stopping point because we can do cobblestones and the bushes on Wednesday if we want to continue on. Or if you guys want to keep coloring, you can. It's up to you. But I'll probably save the rest for class on Wednesday. I'll teach you guys the cobblestone technique, and we can do some more bushes to go along with our trees. Do you guys have any questions or anything? Anything you want to see? Wednesday we do 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So it will be Wednesday nights, and then Saturdays I do during the day. That way, because I know some people have different work schedules, so that way you can try to make at least one of them. It seems like nights work best for most people in the disco. All right, well, that's really it. Hopefully you guys learned something. Like I said, if you ever have a question or need help or anything, just feel free to reach out at any time. You can always post your patterns or questions or anything in the disco. And I think that's about it. That is about it. Dun, 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 dun. So yeah, we did that. What else did we do today? Oh, we did water. I'm going to post a tutorial on the water. Probably this afternoon, later on today. So I'll post a tutorial on the water, and then I'll chop these up into little pieces, and I will post these at some point tonight for you guys. All right, well, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you all probably tomorrow morning. I will be on at the normal time. Have a good night, or I guess it's not night yet. It's a good day. I gotta go and get all my packages that are here that I wanna go and unbox. So I'm gonna go grab it, and I'll probably put some pics in the disco of my books that I got. Bye, friends.